And joining me now live from London for an analysis of the war situation is a global affairs analyst, Segun Daniel. It's good to have you on at this time.
Thank you, Abimbola. It's good to be here.
Now, let's have your thoughts quickly. What do you think would be the outcome of this meeting? What are your expectations?
I do not have high hopes about the meeting, actually, because for one particular reason, Israel is not on the table. Every other neighboring countries, as well as European Union and United States, the superpowers, were there. But the concerned party, which is Israel, in fact, as we speak, while the meeting was on, Israel continued to bombard Gaza. That tells you that they're not counting it as an effort to make any peace. So that is instructive to us to know that this bombing or the war or the conflict will rage on until Israel finally decides how it wants to prosecute it. If there is going to be any realistic path to peace, Israel must be on the table.
Now, let me get your opinion on the worry over the shortage of humanitarian aid. What do you think would happen? How do you think the international community can wade in to avoid loss of life?
Oh, well, the conflict had been, there are two different narratives that, more than one narratives is being applied here. Israel has a position. Israel is trying for the world to understand that, one, we are not against Palestinians, we are against Hamas. But how do you isolate Hamas out of the Palestinians? That's the conundrum. The world is looking at the bombardment where it affects the generality of the Palestinians. And Israel is saying, I'm going to bomb everybody as long as the Hamas cannot separate itself. So that is the problem. We cannot be handling one against the other where we cannot find a common ground for them. The issue will be to address, because the humanitarian corridor, which has been created by the Rafah, border from Egypt, Israel is equally bombing the area. And they had to negotiate with Israel for it to even allow just 20 trucks. So their interest is not even giving humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. They're really not interested in it. One should be able to bring this threat to the table and address their concern because they are the aggressor now.
There are accusations that U.S. is taking sides already. Do you see this complicating the crisis on the ground?
Well, in the diplomatic circle, I wouldn't say U.S. has taken side, neither the United Kingdom or whatever. But for the layman's understanding of what is happening and the expression of support the United States as well as UK, as well as Germany and a few others of the European countries have given to Israel, it appears, yes, they were taking side. But if you look at the content of what they said, they're not saying we're taking side on this war. They're saying we always stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel for its right to keep itself safe. That is it. That could be interpreted in so many ways, saying that even when they were in conflict, we are there to support them. That's what they're saying. They're not saying that we are supporting this war to want to annihilate the Palestinians. So in the diplomatic circle, there's a diplomatic language that they're using that come rain, come sunshine, Israel is our ally. And for whatever reason, we can't back out. But we can find solution to any conflict that arises. However, I need to make something very clear. This issue is about the current crisis. And even if it fizzles away, there's going to be another. The world should start thinking of how to totally, entirely deal with the issue of Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And there have been efforts in that direction. At one time, they were looking at one-state solution where the Palestinians will be integrated into Israel, the state of Israel. That didn't work because the Palestinians wanted their own state. Now came the issue of the two-state existence, where the Palestinians will will have their own state side by side, that of the Israel. Israel agreed to that, but from day one, I've been working against making that state exist. They had been actively making sure that that did not work. Then that should bring us to the question of what exactly does Israel want? And what exactly does its backers, our backers, want? I have a feeling, and this is just a personal opinion, that what Israel actually wants, which they cannot tell the world, and I want to challenge them, they should be bold enough to tell the world, and it could be a solution, is they just wanted the Palestinians out of that land. That's the truth. They cannot accommodate them within one state. They do not want them to have a state that is side by side to them because it constitutes security risk to them. They were only doing all this, perpetually the Palestinian will be a state under occupation. For them to simply say, we do not want them, that will bring a solution. Then the content of the discussion will move towards that. How do you get that done? Don't let us think it has never happened before. The state of Alaska in the United States was bought from Russia. They can call on the neighboring Arab countries if they can make available land for the Palestinians to reside, for them to settle and becomes permanent state for them. They can buy off that land, support them. United Nations can rise up, EU can rise up, Americans and all the superpowers can put, if they can come up with $600 trillion to support the existence of Palestinian state out of Israel, I don't see why it can't work. We are only akin to this thing because of history, that our forefathers have built one mosque, they have a history shrine, they have this. We are history ourselves. We should dissociate ourselves from the history that have brought ruins to these people. We cannot say the Alaska mosque is everything about Palestinians. Let them begin to build a history of their own. If they want to remain in an occupation for another 100 years and in a state of conflict, because Israel is not going to back down, neither are those whom we agree today are the most powerful nations of the world are backing it. I don't see why people want to just continuously lose life. I'm not an advocate of violence, anything that could bring peace, but I do not see the existence of Palestinian state side by side of Israel as working. It has not worked for the past 75 years, and I don't see on the horizon that it can work.
All right, we may have to end it there. Thanks indeed. Global Affairs analyst Segun Daniel, they're sharing his thoughts with us on the Israel-Hamas conflict. Thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.